Sacred Dreamer here, restoring prioritized developments. Now, sadly, I have it's a history story. Quite a few of my dreams are about Jesus ben Pantera, otherwise known as Jesus. Now, back in the day when Jesus lived, the Romans were occupying the land, and Galilee was one of the first territories that created a rebellion against the Romans. It was incredible in those days. I've seen it in my dreams, and it was Greek. There was just beautiful pillars, and the roads were incredible with pillars, and it was just an absolutely divine place, lots of marble. Now I want to tell you this story. There was a man called Jonathan ben Uziel. Is that where I'm starting? Jonathan ben Uziel was born into a wealthy family in Galilee. His father disinherited him from the will and testament. Now, this is a story about corruption and deception. After Menahem the Essene resigned from the office of vice president of the Sanhedrin, Shammai was elected to that position, and Jonathan's dad bequeathed all of his wealth to Shammai. Menahem the Essene went into the service of King Herod the Great with 80 pairs of disciples dressed in silk. Simon ben Gamliel was a Nasi, which means prince, or something like principal, president of the great Sanhedrin, succeeding his father at his death in 50 AD, Galilean. And Simon was killed 70 AD in Jerusalem, which is the start of the war in Jerusalem. And I've written quite a lot about this, so I've got some very detailed. I've found quite a few people in the Bible. Yohanan ben Zakkai, first Rabban, escaped the Roman destruction of Jerusalem, and he is buried in Tiberias, which tells me straight away that he was a collaborator with the Romans, because otherwise why did you get buried in Tiberias? It's just so that easy to figure it out. Now, he was born in Araba. Oh my God, I got such a fright. He was born in Araba, Galilee. He lived there for 18 years. It is written that he found the attitude of the Galileans to be objectionable, allegedly exclaiming that they hated the Torah. His nephew Ben Batiach was a zealot leader known as Abba Sakara, father of the Sakari. Now, the Sakari were the Satans. The Sakari were the assassins. Now, was he the father of the assassins, though? Or what's going on here? Because I think the real father of the assassins got killed in the Masada massacre. Okay, so his nephew. Now, so we've got the Yohanan ben Zakkai and his nephew, known as Ben Batiak. Both of them are traitors. They're so bad. Okay, so the nephew was responsible for the burning of the granaries in Jerusalem in order to cause the famine. So it was just like this major setup. And I'm telling you now, if war comes to your land, your country, America, Iran, Lebanon, whatever, there's the setup first, and then they come in and do their thing when trouble has already hit your land. So what happened was there was like this great big one of their celebrations in Jerusalem. So there was like a lot of people went down to Jerusalem, and they got trapped inside the walls of Jerusalem, because Jerusalem, it wasn't necessarily like a normal city or anything like that. It was like a place of worship, and it had a big temple there. Herod had built it for everybody. It was like this massive Kuaz complex, okay? Flash as, waterfalls, you name it. Now, so this little guy who's now in history called the leader of the assassins was the one who set fire to the granaries. So after that piece of shit did that, he and his uncle advanced their plot for the uncle to escape the city to negotiate with Vespasian. So Vespasian at that time wasn't the what do we call him again? The emperor. Wasn't Caesar. He was just still a general in the army, but he'd been over in Britannia, in Britain. He'd been over in Britain, and lethal guy. Now they pretended that Jonathan had fallen ill and died, and he has passed out the city gates, which is guarded by the true zealots, to be buried. So the nephew dissuaded the guards from stabbing the corpse to make sure it was dead by saying that if they did, the Romans would say that they stabbed their own religious leaders. See, how do you deceive? You kind of make people feel like they're going to be the bad guy if they do what is right. That's one way, you know. But if you stab him to see if he's tricking us and the Romans see it, you're going to be called bad guys. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, yes. So Jonathan, he gets out, right, in this coffin thing, and goes off to Vespasian, and he negotiates to settle in this place that's called Evine, known in that day as Gemnaia. So this place called Gemnaia in Roman times was an estate on a tell, which is a raised hill, bequeathed by King Herod upon his death to his sister Salome in Judea. So when Vespasian quelled the insurrection in Galilee, the Roman army marched onto Gemnaia and also to Azotus, taking both towns, stationing garrisons within them. Now, as we know, practically everybody was slaughtered in the Jerusalem massacre. Let's just call it what it was, except for, of course, the historian Josephus, He was a trader as well from Galilee. And also this guy who became the first rabbi. So anyway, what have I got here? So Judaism went under significant reform in Iran following the failure of the revolt and the destruction of the temple. Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai and his disciples were permitted to settle in Jamnia during the outbreak of the war. The Council of Jamnia was formed, and that has established the Rabbinic Jewish Biblical Canon. They wrote a damn book. So Josephus, the historian, in a cave, we all drew straws, who's going to kill each other? Gee, I was the only one who survived. Josephus. And this fella who I'm just finding out about now, they infiltrated. So Jesus ben Pentera they knew all about all this bad shit that was going on in the Romans. They were not doing good stuff. And Galilee was a beautiful place. Literally, it does not look like dust in the desert. In Jesus' time, it was lush, full of, like I said, water fountains and marble. Just beautiful. Palm trees that have dates on them, and there's just so many beautiful things going on there. Not the only place. Damascus is absolutely stunning, in Syria as well. So many beautiful places I've seen through my dreams. But anyway, the destroyers who are set upon destroying everything, Jesus wanted to be real careful about it, because he had a couple of zealots that were hanging out with him too. And, this is all before the revolution. So what happened was everyone was gearing up for the fight. And there's so much corruption going on between the people, not the Galileans, except for, of course, these people that got into top positions. But so don't trust the people in your top positions. That's what I'm saying as well. But anyway, Jesus, of course, he was, crucified. And it says that he's with two thieves. He wasn't with two thieves. He was with two other rebels, because they were creating a rebellion, you see. Now, when he was murdered, or, brutally set upon to, with his fake trial and, excuse me, everyone's just reaching for something, fake trial and everything like that to convict him of crimes he didn't commit. After the extra torture, the people in Galilee flipped their lid for doing that to Jesus. They went to Rome too. And this is how the whole war started, okay? So it wasn't when everybody guesses. It was when Nero was alive, because he was partly responsible. Okay. And that's my update for this time. Stay strong. Use your discernment. Everyone has to be super discerning right now, because there is a lot of corruption in high places, and People are falling into a trap just by thinking that somebody's on their side. Please be careful.